Carp are unquestionably one of North America's least respected and understood great game fish. The carp have long been regarded as a rough fish. What does it mean, and how did they ever acquire such a title? Who knows? Let's join Al Lindner serving up the breakfast of champions to what we consider the not-so-lowly carp.
These things are really so much fun, and it is one of our most overlooked resources here in North America, but that's changing. We got more and more and more anglers starting to understand that, hey, these dudes are fun. I myself, along with our whole In-Fisherman staff, has been spending more and more and more time on carp, just trying to understand how can we catch these big bruisers with some consistency. And we're going to share today with you just some of the things we learned, because they're really not that hard to get sometimes. Whatever you fish for, if you don't enjoy catching a fish like this, that fights like that, and is that size, something is wrong with you, I'm telling you. Let's see, here's my, I gotta get this. Guy said, if you don't enjoy catching something like this that pulls and is that big, oh man. Let's see, here's my, I gotta get this. You know, I've spent my entire life chasing all kinds of freshwater fish. And now that I'm learning a little bit about catching these dudes with some consistency, I am really enjoying myself. I said, these things are so much fun. Like any fish that grows big, look at it, right in the tip of the snout. I had that fish on a dough bait, and a fish I poked a little bit earlier. Look at that.
Like a lot of different species, carp move shallow in spring to spawn. Certain areas like rivers, channels, and shallow bays warm first and in turn concentrate carp. The best areas for catching carp have sand and gravel bottom with little to no weeds. And a little wind blowing into the area helps neutralize their spooky nature, particularly in clear water.
You know, the beauty of these carp early in a season like this is they're so easy to see. We get a couple people in a boat, you put one guy up in the front of the boat with a pair of Polaroids, and you just start running the mouths of these creeks, the mouths of the bays, the warmer water areas, and like all spring fish, no big secret, they're drawn to the warmer water areas. That's why channels and bays attract a lot of fish. And again, a little wind coming in there seems to be a plus in that shallow water. But you move around and look until you see lots of fish in an area. What's working for me here, and has worked a lot for me over the years, and I don't claim to be a carp expert, but I studied a lot of stuff that these Europeans have talked about where they finessed carp. And I believe that our fish here in North America are not that sophisticated. You don't have to go to those extremes at this stage. These fish have not been fished, they haven't been worked. They're not educated like their fish are. Things like corn work great for chumming on hair rigs and things like that, if it's legal in your part of the country. Plain old box of Wheaties I use a lot, the couple of last big fish that I had. You take a plain old ordinary box of Wheaties, you get a bunch of it in your hand and start kneading it into a ball about that big. You roll it over a little hook, small hook, you cover the whole hook. It gets real gooey, real sticky, plain old Wheaties. You cover the whole hook, a little bit of a lead snell because they suck that bait up into their mouth and chew it. You adjust the sinker to the conditions if you're in current or a little bit deeper water. In order to adjust it, you cast it out, and you know, a little 6-8 inch lead is all you need. I like holding a rod. I'm in a state here I'm in my home state of Minnesota, and you can only use one rod here. If you're in other areas, a lot of states, you could set up multiple rods. You could lay rod holders out and hold them. But I like fishing them with a spinning rod, 8-pound test line. I'm not in heavy cover, but you need a large capacity spinning reel, one that holds a lot of line. I mean, you set up on a 10, 20, 30, 40 pounder. I can't comment on a 40 pounder. I never got a 40 pounder yet. Or maybe I will before the day's over. But most of these really big fish, you need a lot of line on that reel. And that 6.5 to 7.5 foot spinning rod, well, you can come back on them and you can fight these fish and give a little control over them. Let's face it, how many fish in this country, freshwater, can you go out and catch a 10, 15, 20 of these things that go from 10 to 30, 40 pounds in a day with a possibility? Not many, not many. I'll get into an area like this and I might make almost like a fan cast. 3 casts there, 2 off the back of the boat and 3 off of this side. And I covered this whole swash of water. That would take me a half hour to place all those casting fish it the way I'm slowly working this area out. And it's good for 1 or 2 fish. You hook them and they kind of spook. Then I'll lift the anchor, move slow with the trolling motor, and move up just out of the area that I had just finished. And I keep going back and forth. And these fish, like I said, I can't overemphasize this. They're milling back and forth here. And it's a pretty good format. It's working pretty good. I'm feeling these fish with my finger actually on a line like this. The line is not tight. It's just kind of taut. And I'll just feel them go like that, and then I can just drop the rod and come back on a set. You know, you'll feel them. There's no question when you get the hit. And I know a lot of people that bank fish set the rods down in rod holders. They got the devices that'll beep if you got a bite, and a lot of the European concoctions that work quite well. You know, but when I'm in a boat like this, I guess I like the rod in my hand all the time. Whoa! Holy smokes! Oh, he bushed me. Oh no, he's back out again. Oh, look at it. Look at it. Look at this. I can't imagine what a 50-pounder. In my home state here in Minnesota, I think our state record's 55 pounds. The last few fish that I caught out of here are humongous. I got to get back here and get my net. They're just like huge submarines. Look at how fat that thing is, man. Look at how fat. That one hit the corn on what they call a hair rig, a European rig. I don't know what this sucker weighs, but it is incredible. It is absolutely incredible, the power these things have. Get the, oh, come here, baby. Look at the size of this thing. I'll tell you what, I have gotten really turned on to carp fishing in the past few years. Now that I've got the confidence that I can catch them with some consistency, you put to use some of the things I just talked about today, you're gonna start poking big giant fish like this, and I'll guarantee you one thing, you're gonna get turned on to carp just like I have.